Halloween
Forever.
Afternoon, Steve. How's it going?
I've been better.
No shit. All right. It's interesting. Excited to get into why that's the case. Before we do, though, you know, we're talking today about trick or treat scenes, our favorite trick or treat scenes in movies. Reminded me of a fun anecdote from when I was a kid. When I was trick or treating, I always used to, when I knocked on someone's door, instead of saying trick or treat, I'd always tell a little joke. I always thought that would help me out. Like that would maybe get me
extra candy,
some better treats or something like that. Yeah.
Make them laugh. Give them a show.
Well, I mean, I got a couple of Snickers. Welcome, boys and girls, to a very spooky Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve. Still champ.
You are still champ. So what do you got to complain about? What the fuck's wrong with you over there, gloomy Gus? What's going on?
It's not so much gloomy. Good? Yeah, I'm just a little sick. That's all.
You're not feeling good. Yeah, me too, buddy.
Do you know if new COVID comes with like an ear infection?
No, but I did have a nasty cold that lasted like honestly, it felt like it was a couple of months, and it completely, like, I couldn't hear out of one of my ears. I thought it was an infection. Turns out it wasn't, but boy howdy, it sucked. I tried eardrops, I tried all types of stuff, and then I eventually just held my nose and like blew, like I was trying to blow my nose really hard, but I had it clinched, and then it, like, my eardrum, I guess, was like turned the wrong direction or something. It was like convex instead of concave, I don't know, or the other way around, and then it just popped out, and it made me feel weird about my body, and it hurt, but I'm over it finally. Hopefully you don't have it for 2 damn months like I did.
No, I don't think I got what you got, because I don't have like the wrenching cough and everything. It's just like I'm super congested.
I felt like Doc Holliday. Like I just had, I felt like a dang old lunger.
I'll be podcast Huckleberry.
I really felt like I was just going to start coughing up blood at any moment. But I'm good. I'm feeling good. Well, that's not true. I'm not feeling good, but I'm not sick anymore. I'm just a tad hungover, to be honest with you. First time in a while. We're recording this on early in the afternoon on a Sunday. I went to the Phantom Fright Nights last night down Kennywood. Yeah, we had a freaking blast down there. Even though it was raining most of the night, it was miserable weather. We still had a freaking blast. Oktoberfest, Hackershore Oktoberfest on draft, and they had these like commemorative, like 20 ounce, 24 ounce, whatever they were, big old Phantom Fright Nights light up mugs. I mean, it's game over. Give me a damn Phantom Fright Night light up mug and Oktoberfest on draft, I'm going to get rip-roaring ass drunk. The kids weren't there. Obviously, they're too little to go to haunted houses and shit. But me, Kate, my cousin, his girlfriend, the kids were sleeping over at my parents' house, and we tied one on. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, feeling a little yucky this morning.
Feeling the age. Let me ask you about that there. Mm-hmm. And is this Kennywood leaving money on the table? Because Kennywood, they about games. They have a Midway.
Yeah. They do.
And if they're doing commemorative mugs and Oktoberfest on draft, how do they not have like a Stein Lift game?
Yeah, I mean, they're plastic mugs that have little lights in them and stuff. But yeah, they should have the Maschkrugstamen, the Kennywood Steinhoist. That'd be fun.
They could set it up. I mean, just set it up almost like that horse race game that everybody loves to play and everything. But you got to stand there and you have to hold. Maybe you, instead of holding the plastic one, you hold a regular Stein. Yeah. And then you drop it and it hits a button and then you're out.
And then you get electrocuted or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. You get a little shock. Yeah. But whoever drops it last, they get to win the plastic mug.
I like that.
Instead of paying $17 or whatever it is for.
It's $16 for the mug with a fill, but then your fills are only $10 after that, which is what a deal. Listen, I like this idea. We could tie in some local Pittsburgh celebrities to do the Steinhoist. We could have a Bob Pompiani out there. We could have a Tom Savini. Tom Savini would win it. He's jacked.
Ooh.
He'll probably win.
You know who'd look good at the Steinhoist game? Simply, if you give him like kind of the wicker brim hat and like the carny vest and everything, Rick Seaback.
Oh, Rick would be fun. Rick would he wouldn't do well. He ain't gonna beat Tom Savini. He's too old.
I'm just thinking about him hosting the game.
He would be a great host. I agree with
you give
that.
him the wicker hat and the bamboo cane to spin around. Yeah.
I like that. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. It was spooky environment, even though it was rainy and gross, but we had a blast. But no beers for your boy today on account of feeling yucky. Ate some ramen. That helped me out a little bit. But I'm just drinking this big old dang old spooky ass mug of coffee with a little pumpkin spice creamer in there, and then turn into an old friend when my belly don't feel too good. Just give it a squirt. That's what I always say. I always try.
There's something vile about grapefruit and pumpkin spice.
Back and forth, baby. I like to have multiple beverages. Need some caffeine right now, but also little squirt. Little squirt will do you.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. All right. But that said, I don't have any beers, but I've explained what my beverages are. Steve, do you have a beer?
I also am playing a trick on the audience because I'm not drinking beer either. I take advantage of opportunity. So like I said, I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling terrible though, but it's like I'm super congested. I have like I get like ear infections because I'm always wearing headphones or earbuds or something. So I think that's what happened. But I'm like also super congested.
You're like one of them dogs that's got floppy ears, but except for you don't got floppy ears. You just wear headphones all the time.
Yeah, I don't have floppy ears. I'm just like Hungarian, and that's like, I don't know, part of it. Maybe.
By the way, guys, for those of you who aren't on the Discord right now, Steve does not have floppy ears. I just want to throw that out there in case there was any concern. Somebody maybe thought, I heard some people talking about how they thought Steve had like floppy beagle ears. He does not.
Yeah, stop spreading that rumor.
Stop it. It's hurtful.
But like, since I'm congested, I'm not tasting things perfectly, so I'm not going to waste. I only have like basically good beers at this point. I have like a really subtle Allagash in my fridge, and I don't want to waste it on shitty congested palate. Yeah. So I'm taking an opportunity of I had really bad vodka in my freezer.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just mixing that with Coke, and that's giving me the self-medication, and the Coke is giving me the pep to do the show for everybody. Yeah. So it's like, take advantage.
Something about cola and vodka is such a strange combination that's not good. I vodka is just, it's mostly flavorless, but when I think vodka, I think like something citrus, some fruit. Cola, every time, and I love this movie, we talked about in a recent episode as well when we had Premium Steve on, that scene in Scrooged where Bill Murray's character is drinking vodka and tab.
Yeah.
Something about that just grosses me out. Like I said, the idea of drinking vodka and cola just doesn't mix for me. I don't know.
Can I turn you
spice and grapefruit? Now that's a combo, baby.
Can I turn you a little bit more then? The reason why I had the vodka in the freezer is because it's not particularly good vodka. It's Pinnacle Lemonade. I thought
that helps a tiny bit because lemon Coke was a thing.
Okay. Well,
remember when they had lemon Coke?
Right. Yeah. So like that's my thinking today. But like I know it's been sitting in there for so long because it's not good. I thought like vodka lemonade. Oh, that'll be so refreshing.
Sure.
But it's not. It's very gross. It's gross.
Bad. There is few things. I mean, my misspent youth with drinking $10 Vladimir was our drug of choice in high school, was plastic half-gallon bottles of Vladimir. Boy howdy, that was yucky. And then it's like a Vladimir is a word that I can smell.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you say Vladimir, I smell that bad vodka.
Dude, I saw a meme on Instagram that was like, it's not even from an account I followed. So this is just like the algorithm knowing who I am. It was just a picture of that half-gallon liter or whatever of Vladimir. And it says, if you didn't grow up drinking this, are you even from Pennsylvania?
Oh, God.
It's like, I hate
just
that.
my friend Brian, his name's also Brian. He used to have like this bit that he would do up in he went to Cal U, beautiful Cal U in California, Pennsylvania. And when we go into the liquor store, he would get down and squat down as soon as he walked in the door. And then just walk in like a catcher's position the whole way to the back of the store because he's like, I'm going bottom shelf. I just get in position.
You Slav squat all the way to Vladimir.
God, it's giving me the heebie-jeebies thinking about it. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, now that we got our various illnesses, both self-inflicted and not, out of the way, and the beverages we're using to cope with those things, let's do a couple of things at the top of the show. For those of you who've been paying attention, for those of you who show up, who are just here week in, week out, listening to us in March, all that stuff, what's about to fucking go down next week on next week's episode, 1 week from when this comes out. So it will be the 2nd of October, that first Monday in October. We're about to have the son of a bitchin' October showdown. This is our WrestleMania, folks. All right, this is a dang old slobber knocker wrapped up in a dang old barn burner.
What?
It's gonna be fucking wild. Go back and listen to last week's episode, and we'll explain all that. I ain't gonna go through all the dang old thing over and over and over again. You get the picks, but just to remind you, we're doing a fatal 4-way match, yins guys, and we are gonna have. Obviously, Steve, myself. Normally, we have one guest for these here showdown episodes, but we got 2 guests, one of which is a friend of the show, multiple time guest, Bigfoot Ben. And then guys, it's happening. This is how we're really pitching this pay-per-view this week. This is the October showdown, of course. It's a big deal. But also... it's the return of the bog hag herself. Meg will be there, guys. She's going to come in here. She's already sending me pictures of baseball bats wrapped in barbed wire. She sent me a picture of a kendo stick. I assume she's just going to lay into us with that son of a bitch. So things are going to get rough next week. It's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't know if you've been watching SmackDown, Brian, as of late.
I have not. No, I have not.
Well. And this is basically because of SAG and WGA being on strike.
Right.
But they had a big SmackDown where both John Cena and The Rock appeared on SmackDown. Oh, yeah, because honestly, they have nothing else to do.
Right. Yeah, The Rock's just been showing up in bonkers places that you don't expect. Like I saw him at a last week Colorado football game. What the fuck does he have to do with Colorado? Yeah. Did he go there? I don't know. He was he was there on like College Football Today or whatever, which I don't even watch college football, but he was on like College Football Today or whatever the pregame show is. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing there?
He ain't got nothing else to do.
Showing up. I saw the Brahma Bull at Kennywood last night. He was just walking around signing shit.
I saw him at an Ithaca TGI Fridays. Don't ask why I was there.
No explanation required.
Yeah, he was just there. But, with The Rock and Cena coming back to SmackDown, like we have to do a ratings grab ourselves, and now we're bringing back Meg. So
we're bringing back Meg, the Brock Lesnar of this podcast. She's just going to come up and every once in a while, show up, fuck everybody up. The return of the bog hag herself. She's coming out, like I said, coming off a hot and heavy bog hag summer. Now transitioning into horse girl season, so she's going to be ready and raring to go. I said, Ben, a lot of storylines going on. Like I said, follow the podcast, listen to the last few episodes, get caught up.
We should remind the audience right before the showdown what the movies are that we're going to watch.
Oh, yes.
So they can be prepared. Maybe they missed last week's episode, which they shouldn't. But if they did, we can remind them that in this fatal 4-way showdown, we all picked off the wheel of the ween.
Yes, we sure did.
So we are subject to what the wheel subjected us to, but it was nice this year. On the first year, it was nice.
It was nice. It didn't fuck us completely as it has fucked most of us, or at least one of us, every year leading up to this. The Wheel-O-Ween this year didn't just have John Carpenter movies as it did in the past. It had 69 different movies that were just Halloween themed or happened on Halloween or prominently displayed the Halloween season in them. So I have them here. Ben ended up with a movie which I'm excited to see. Still haven't watched it. I'm going to watch it this week, called Hellions from 2015. Meg is doing The Funhouse Massacre, also from 2015. Coincidental? You be the judge. I don't know what I mean by that. I'm going to be doing 2019 Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And then Steve, we all were right around, last in the last decade here. And then Steve going all the way back to 1986 with Trick or Treat. Again, this is not Trick or Treat, which maybe we'll talk about tonight. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's not 2007's Trick or Treat. It's not Trick or Treats. It's not Trick. It is Trick or Treat from 1986, the one with Rock's Chosen Warrior. For those of you who are new to the show, we get a lot of new listeners this time of year. That's great. Happy to have you. Also, fuck you, you bandwagon fans. Let's see if you're here in February. Bet you won't be, you rat bastards. Just kidding. Happy to have you.
Please don't bet.
Yeah. If you want to continue to, listen to spooky ooky stuff on the internet every damn Monday, we put out some spicy, fresh new content on your podcast app. Go in there and follow us. Go and follow us on the podcast app or subscribe or whatever you got to do. And then if you like this here podcast, you can do a couple of things to support us. One, you can go on that same old podcast app that you were already on. You're already looking at it right now. If you're not, if you're driving, let go of the wheel. Pick up your no, I'm just kidding. Wait till you stop, guys. Don't crash your car. Pick up that phone, pull off the side of the road, put on your four ways. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Then go in that podcast app and hit review. Give us 5 stars, however the maximum amount of stars there is. And then you got to write a little review. Say, hey, I like this here podcast. Whatever you got to do. Do that. And then you will have a dang old some stickers coming your way. You got to shoot us a quick old DM on the Instagrams or over on the Twitchers or whatever. What do you call it? The Twix? Shoot us on over there and say, hey, we reviewed you guys. We like the podcast. And I'll send you some dang old Halloween's Forever stickers in the mail. I'll probably send you some other spooky ooky shit too. So we very much appreciate that, especially this time of year. It means a lot for us. We get a lot of listeners this time of year, and introduce new people to podcasts is cool. The other thing that you can do is, if you are feel so inclined, as we have some Patreon friends here currently listening to us record live in the old what is this dang thing called here? Discord, right?
The old Discord.
On the Discord channel here. If you want to join our friends that are listening to us record live, go over to patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. Steve, why don't you tell them about all that business we got going on over there?
Well, you get on to the Patreon, right?
You got to go to Patreon, right?
Got to go Patreon. And you sign up on Patreon. We got 2 tiers on the Patreon. One tier doesn't get you Discord. The other tier does. If the tier that doesn't get you Discord, it does get you other things.
This is important.
Yeah. It'll get you other things. I mean, you get like reviews. You get some extra stuff. You get an extra vote in the poll.
Right.
A couple things there. But what you really want to do, you want to sign up for the other tier, the Rascal tier.
That Rascal tier, get on that Rascal tier.
Rascal tier, that gets you Discord. That gets you all the other fun things. And it gets you a monthly exclusive podcast, Family is Forever.
I almost forgot about it. Just for 1 second, for whatever reason, my brain decided to play a little kind trick on me and make me forget about this Patreon exclusive podcast we got going on here. Because frankly, the podcast is fun. The movies suck ass. Steve has I'm not going to spoil it, but it is a lot of fun to record But unfortunately, what has happened is Steve has lured me into what I thought at first was just like a long con, a troll that he was doing. Now I'm fully convinced it's some sort of mind control psyop situation. And I'm not sure who all's involved. I don't know who to trust. I'm alienating myself from my friends and loved ones because I'm worried that, again, it's some sort of psyop. Eventually they're going to start, I don't know if mind control's involved, but what we have to do is watch every single movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And you might say, wait, you guys are a horror podcast. Why are you watching Fast and Furious movies? I don't fucking know, you guys. I feel like I'm a victim here. I don't victim blame me. But
and you see, audience, right there, he's calling himself a victim, and that's the meta horror.
Yeah. I am somehow being like, this is, I don't know if it's some sort of social experiment. Again, I'm not sure. But each month we watch one movie of the 17 fucking movies. I thought there were only 10. Now I hear there's more than 10, which makes me very sad and depressed to know that I have to do it for another week. And I'm already thinking about once we get through these 10, 11, whatever, it's practically a damn year of Fast and the Furious movies that we discuss on the Patreon exclusive podcast. I'm thinking after that, it's only fair if I survive this, which there's no guarantees that I'm going to make it through this. I think it's only fair that I get to pick the series after this. And I've got some terrible ideas.
Sure.
And I just want to use that. I have very little leverage in this situation, but I want to use that just so whoever is trying to, assault my brain from the inside can use that. Maybe they'll pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know. But I do have recourse. If I survive, I do have some degree of recourse that maybe they might need to be worried about a little bit.
Yeah. Brian does have, a couple months now to figure out what my kryptonite is.
Yeah.
So like he's going to be, while he's investigating the plot of like why he has to do the Fast and Furious films, he now has another investigation of how to get me back.
Yeah,
so
I have a couple of ideas. One of which it's like, do I want to subject myself to that as well? I don't know. Anyway, guys, it's a lot of fun to talk about. They're really goofy, stupid movies. We've done the first three. We just went Tokyo Drifting. Now we're going to the fourth one, which I think is just called, it's like Halloween 2018. They just named it Fast. I think it's Fast and Furious instead of Fast and the Furious. Is that the only difference? Yeah.
Yes.
Which
you are correct.
Who fucking knows why? I'm sure it's going to be so goddamn stupid.
They even shorten and because it's ampersand. It's Fast ampersand Furious.
Yeah. And then eventually the movies just become fast.
Yeah.
At some point.
Or Furious.
Are there ones that are just Furious? Because I know
ones
sometimes
that are just Furious.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyway, if you want to go down this rabbit hole with me and your life might end as a result of it, or your relationships with your friends and loved ones might be forever changed for the negative. We'll see. But if you want to do that, come on over to the patreon.com/Halloween's Forever. Sign up for that rascal tier. $5 a month gets you access to all that stuff, plus their podcast that's only for our Patreon subscribers. So anyway, guys, and again, if you just want to follow us on the internet, spooky ooky shit all the time on there, at Halloween is Forever. Or at Hallow Forever Pod over on a Twitch, or at Hallow Forever on Twix, and then pretty much at Halloween's Forever everywhere else.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we got to do before we get into this here main topic of the minisode?
No, just wanted to point out again, if you're part of the Discord, you get to interact with the show as it happens live, and one of our listeners, Dan, is with us today. And he pointed out that Brian, one of your options to torture me after Fast and the Furious is over,
okay, I like this,
is a 12-month marathon of Hallmark Christmas movies.
Dan, simpatico. That was my number one idea. Was actually Hallmark Christmas movies, because I somehow genuinely enjoy them. They're like white noise, and you just see Christmassy lights and stuff like that. That was literally my number one guess. So we are simpatico. I think that's where I'm leaning. I got like a lot of months still to figure this out, but that is the direction that I'm leaning currently, because I feel like Steve, like I don't mind them as much as most rational people. I mean, not to say I'm a rational person, but you get the idea. And then Steve, I feel, would genuinely hate them, which I really like, because they are really bad filmmaking, which I think will make Steve very upset. Poorly lit, a lot of bad CGI snow, terrible, like no character development. The plot suck. There's a million tropes that are just recycled. I just think it'll really like hurt Steve bad, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Could be.
No, we are on the same page here. So let's get into the topic for today's minisode, which is a fun one. We do one of these now and again. We usually do one or two of them around the old spooky season here, and this is the last minisode of September, which means we are diving headfirst into spooky season. Listen, my house is already decorated. I've been celebrating. There's a goddamn 10 bajillion pumpkins all over my fucking house. Frankenstein, spook 'em up, skeletons everywhere. So I want to jump headfirst into this. We've talked about our, Halloween memories and costumes and stuff like this. I want to talk specifically about trick or treat scenes from movies, could be television shows. Even though some of my favorite ones are actually from commercials, I did not go into commercials. I feel like that could almost be a separate episode we do like next year or something like that. But if we got some from commercials, I'm open to that too. But I stuck to my list is movies and TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I stuck to as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You just want to kind of go back and forth, and we can talk about them, and then I'm sure we'll have some of the same ones we have to cross off the list. But why don't you kick us off, Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out quickly. Go because I don't know that we'll touch on them too much this episode because it's rehashing. But go back to our showdown earlier in the year that we did with Louie from The Haunted Hangover.
Oh yeah.
Because we did 3 of, our favorite Nickelodeon horror, like Halloween episodes, but all 3 of them also have like trick or treat scenes. And I mean, Brian's won that showdown because it undeniably has one of the best trick or treat scenes in the Pete and Pete episode.
Oh yeah.
But then also Rocco's Modern Life. And, I personally thought that one was strong. And then Louie liked Louie liked the Doug episode. So, there's trick or treating in all 3 of them. And I do think just for the really, really big man joke alone is why you watched the Rocco one. So
yeah, that's really, really good. Yeah. So here's, that one, if you want to get into the dang old spooky season spirit, guys, go watch season 2, episode 7 of The Adventures of Pete and Pete, the Nickelodeon series from the early to I guess mid 90s. It's called Halloweeny. Oh, it is one of the greatest Halloween, in my opinion, the greatest Halloween episode of any show ever. But yeah, go check that one out. Yeah, all right. What are you gonna kick it off with, Steve?
So I'm gonna kick it off with actually not a horror movie. We said trick or treat scenes, but we didn't say horror movies. So
no, I've got a couple that are not horror movies. Yeah.
But I want to take us back to the year 1999 and the film Big Daddy.
I like this one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
One of the few Adam Sandler films where he puts forth like an actual try. Like he has his comedy films before this that, like Happy Gilmore and everything, where he's just being silly and doofy. Big Daddy was like, I think the first time he did an actual try to be like somewhat emotional. I think it definitely predates Punch Drunk Love.
Yes. Yeah,
so it's
I think you're right.
Yeah. So every now and then you get like these Adam Sandler films where he puts forth like effort and like people go, oh yeah, he can act. But like he just never chooses to because he'd rather just do vacation films with his buddies.
Well, and also it's like if you can make $1 billion and not even try, why would you try?
Right. Yeah. Like Netflix is paying me $1 bajillion to make.
Phone it in, baby. Yeah, of course.
I get to go to Italy and make out with fucking what's her face? Jennifer Aniston. Like a doy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Big Daddy, I think, was like the first time he kind of tried to put forth an actual try of like being somewhat sentimental. And, you know, for people who didn't see the film, it's about like a guy who winds up adopting a kid that he isn't related to or anything, but he tries the best he can to raise him because he's a fucking like loser. You know, he's just kind of a lay around lazy
but with
bum.
like the most amazing apartment. That was like back when people never tried to portray people's living situations as anything but awesome. Like it's like, hey Arnold, like he lived in like a boarding house, but he had the coolest bedroom in history. You know, this guy's supposed to be like, you know, a kind of a, like I said, kind of a Arrested Development kind of loserish guy, but he has like this fucking unbelievable giant apartment.
Yeah, a huge loft that is just, you know, sprawling. I mean, it's not dissimilar from what was that shitty punishment film we did with the hacker, Fear.com. The hacker's apartment in
fear.com. Yeah.
Yeah. .com. Yeah. The fear.com.
http://
fear.com/.
I'm just making myself laugh. I'm not going to do it good.
But yeah, the hacker, her apartment in that film, that's just like a sprawling lobby of some sort.
Huge, like just dark wood, giant oak furniture. Just, and she's a hacker.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the setup of Big Daddy. And then, you know, he takes this kid out on his first trick or treat, and the kid is dressed the way the kid wanted to dress. Like the kid calls himself Frankenstein, for God's sake. He doesn't.
Yeah, he looks like at first glance he's dressed as Mr. Crab from SpongeBob.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Predating SpongeBob.
Yeah, but doesn't it look like with the things on his hand? I don't know.
Yeah, he's got like a giant orange, you know, like orb around him. So I guess he's a pumpkin, maybe. But then he's also wearing boxing gloves, and then like orange pantyhose that are coming off his head like ears. So and then he has like the kind of the traditional scarecrow makeup of like the red, rosy red cheeks and everything. So he just looks like a goof. He doesn't look like anything. And he takes him to this like brownstone in the middle of New York City, and he's like knocking on the door to get him his first time trick or treat. And he's like, he sees a guy through the window, and the guy's on his phone, and he's just like this annoying New York elite. And he's like, "Hey buddy, first timer here. Do the right thing."
It's like kind of threatening him, vague threats. Yeah, that's good.
It's vague threatening. Just do the right thing is such a vague threat.
Because the guy's like kind of like go away. He's like signaling like go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm, you know, my light's not on or whatever. You know, he's not participating in trick or treat.
Yeah. But you know, the guy gives him the finger, and Adam Sandler goes around the back, breaks into his house. It's just like I wanted to
just
bring
straight up B&E.
Yeah.
He's like, wait right here.
I wanted to bring this up because it's for sure something else we're going to talk about later in the episode, but it's so funny the way he breaks into his house, argues with him, and then like they open the door, and the guy winds up throwing like a box of Life cereal and CDs and his watch into the. He's
like, take give the child things. Figure out what things you're going to give him. Yeah.
Yeah. He just gives him whatever he had on hand, and he's like, it's no candy, and he's like, he's not happy. What else do you have? And he gives him his watch, and it's like at this point, it's just a robbery. It's just a break. Yeah. You know, it's just thuggery.
It's just strong armed robbery.
Yeah. But I wanted to bring it up.
Scene.
I wanted to bring it up because one, we're probably going to talk about something similar later in the episode, and then two, it also reminds me of a trick or treat story of my own, which I feel like I probably told on like
where your parents strong arm robbed somebody.
No, they were never that cool. But I feel like I told this story on a really early episode of the podcast when we were just like doing like our regular Halloween memories, and it was like my neighborhood that I trick or treated in, like it was kind of dull for the most part, but there was one house that was also a Jehovah's Witness house, and they had left their light on one year, and I went knocking at the door, and then they just turned the light out on me as I was knocking on the door.
Motherfuckers. Who does that to a child? That is the house that the trick like that is the house that you egg.
That's the house that gets tricked. Yeah. Like if I mean, they got lucky because I was just like a 7 or 8 year old kid by myself. You know, like Yeah. So like they got lucky because it was just me. And like, I don't, I'm like out trick or treating with my mom. And like, my mom was like driving me places. So.
Yeah. Well, that's how like when I was really young, like too young to go trick or treating by myself. That's what we did because we live in the country.
Right.
So it was literally everyone jump in the back of the truck and we just drive from house to house because sometimes it's, half a mile apart between the houses or whatever.
Yeah. You couldn't walk it and get you could walk it, but you wouldn't get enough candy really.
No, it wouldn't be worth it. And the best thing about this is out where I grew up, people don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters. Mm-hmm. So they give you like not even full-size candy bars. They give you like bags of candy bars.
Right.
Like there was one place that we would drive like 5-10 minutes out of the way that we didn't even go in this area, but we would go there because they would give out 10 packs of back when the mini candy bars before they came in bags, they come in those like sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
They would just they just have like 5 of those and go, here, take one of these sleeves. And I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. And you get 10 or however many mini candy bars. Like, you guys fucking rule. But
yeah, just, I always like that Big Daddy scene because it reminded me of the justice I didn't get as a child at the time someone ignored me.
If only Adam, and if I had a nickel for every time I said to myself, God, I wish Adam Sandler was my adopted father. Like, I can't even tell you how
wish
much
Adam Sandler was here right now.
You're so fucking lucky, Adam Sandler. Like me, I just say that to like my bullies getting beat up as a kid. You guys are fucking lucky Adam Sandler isn't here and he isn't my adopted father. And then they're like, this is why you get beat up.
This is why we beat you up. You say weird shit like that.
Stop. We wouldn't beat you up. You didn't say weird shit. All right. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. I am going to, and I don't know, maybe this is unfair, but I have quite a few here. And I'm going to just kind of mention the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of great Halloween, a lot of very, just Halloween. Halloween 6, Halloween, actually 4 and 5 both have some cool Halloween and Halloween party scenes, but specifically to trick or treating. I remember one of the first one, Halloween 1978 was like the first movie first horror movie I was like fully obsessed with and still am and watched a bajillion times. But the trick or treating scene from that was always perplexing and interesting to me because like whenever Laurie is like walking home from school, there are already kids out trick or treating.
Yeah.
And it always made me think of it. Like it was one of those like things that made you like nostalgic for a thing you never experienced, like back in the day, like I'm at decades and decades and decades ago, probably there was no like designated time for trick or treating. It's just like when you got home from school and got your costume on, you went out trick or treating and you went trick or treating until there were no more houses with their lights on. Like you would legitimately like probably trick or treat for like 6-8 hours. Now it's like a very structured, like it's a 2-hour or 3-hour thing or whatever.
Yeah. They send out a flyer and the VFD is like, hey, this is when your time is. Don't get off the streets after that. Yeah.
And it's gotten better in recent years. Like I have young kids who, we go trick or treating with a bunch of like friends. It's a big group of kids. They have a blast. But it used to be like for a few years there, trick or treat was like from like 5 to 7. I swear to God, like it was so early. It was still light for the entire time almost. And it really pissed me off. But now they're getting back to, I think last, trick or treat, at least in our, municipality is like 6 to 8 p.m. or whatever. So at least it's like fucking dark out. But Halloween, it was like after school and there's just like kids already trick-or-treating, and I was like, it always was very intriguing to me as a child. Halloween 3 obviously has an amazing, a number of good trick-or-treating scenes, but especially the kind of iconic scene. I just posted like a little like reel on Instagram the other day that you can check out that includes this of like a little mashup of some of my favorite trick-or-treat scenes. And this one is on there. And it's the one where they, at the end of the movie, where they're showing all the kids going out trick-or-treating and they all have the masks on. And it's like this scene where you've come to the realization that Tom Atkins has failed in his is, he's discovered what was going on. He knows what's happening. He knows that this is, obviously, Colonel Cochrane and all that happened. So it's like he knows that this is a way to sacrifice millions of children, and he gets, calls the take the ad off the air, all that. And then it continues to run. And then you see all the kids out like trick or treating with their masks and stuff on. And it goes from like different cities. And one of them is Los Angeles. And it has these kids like walking down a hill, and they're pretty much just in silhouette behind like the like this kind of very eerie red orange backdrop of like the LA, not even skyline, because it doesn't really have a sky, but you know what I mean? Like you see a silhouette against the sky with like the city off in the distance, and it says like Los Angeles, California, or whatever. I love that image. Like it's an iconic image. I'm not the first person to say like, hey, that's a cool image, but it just always stuck with me.
Yeah. I think that ties into like it. I wanted to put it up as not a favorite scene, but you've mentioned two things that kind of tie into it, with the daytime trick-or-treating, and now kind of the Los Angeles, the sun's still up, but everybody's in silhouette, is the ET trick-or-treat scene. Is like, I
posted something about that the other day too. Go ahead. I never really, like, I kind of was never that big of an ET fan.
Yeah. Like, but, I mean, I like ET overall, but like that scene is like an anti-good trick-or-treat scene. Because like you're saying, it's in daylight, like kids are just wandering around whenever, and it's just like a bunch of people wandering around. It's not like interesting.
You're also in this very boring, wide open cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
There's no trees. There's no nothing. It looks hot.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it's hot out.
Yeah. It looks terrible. Like it's just the way the film is color corrected. It's super warm, so it looks like it's hot midday in Los Angeles, and there's no rhyme or reason. It's just like a bunch of monsters wandering around, and it feels like the only reason this scene exists in ET is to pay the service to Yoda. Yep. So Steven Spielberg can give a little nod to his friend George Lucas and be like, look, my alien met your alien. And then
look, let's touch weenie tips. Yeah. It's such a weird dumb scene.
Yeah.
And also the kid who's got the Yoda scene or the Yoda costume, it's like a movie quality Yoda mask. It's not realistic.
It's better than store quality for sure.
Yeah. It's way too nice.
Yeah. The other thing I just think it's kind of a little bit funny about that is like in that scene, like when E.T. sees Yoda, he starts wandering at Yoda, just going home. And it's like, okay, kind of funny. But then later it's retconned in the Star Wars prequels because the ETs are in like the Galactic Senate. Are you saying like if you go back now to that ET scene, are we literally saying that ET recognizes Yoda as like a high senator? Is that what we're doing?
I don't think so.
But I mean,
like to
that's the way it plays now.
I know. I like to think that the Star Wars universe is so up its own asshole that is what happened.
Yeah.
But yes, so the last one I'll mention was the from Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
Which is just not only a great trick or treat scene, but my favorite scene in the whole movie, which is it starts in trick or treat. It starts on Halloween night, and it's as Michael is just starting to really get down to business with this whole rampage that he does, and you see all these kids running around. It's a little bit of a chaotic trick or treat scene, which I love because it's very easy to make trick or treat scenes like very fuzzy and nostalgic and all that stuff. But sometimes like the most fun thing about it when you were a kid was, that it was kind of just chaos. You were just running amok, what I mean, around the neighborhood. So there's all these kids running around, just carrying on. And then someone just like walks past and just lights off a bunch of firecrackers, and you're just like, what's going on? And then it's Mike, you see Michael and he bumps into a kid, and then you start following Michael. The camera starts following him from behind. He slips back, between a couple of houses, goes through this little like carport and then eventually, grabs a hammer and goes in the house and, all that stuff. So it's the coolest scene in the movie, and it happens to be a trick or treat scene.
Yeah. And this was what I was talking about with the Big Daddy. Mm-hmm. This is the super violent version of the Big Daddy scene because I like this scene specifically in Halloween because it's done as a one take. Whether or not they fudged it, is I don't care.
Who knows? Yeah,
I don't care that much because it still looks good. But it ends with Michael going through the back door of a house. Very similar to Big Daddy.
Yeah, he does. Except instead of stealing someone's life cereal, he sticks a knife through the back of their neck.
He steals somebody's life.
That's
cha-cha.
How did I miss that one? It was like you threw me a beach ball. I was holding a tennis racket and I just whipped.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's just a cool scene. Best scene in the movie, even with the CGI, like the little bit of the CGI-ishness of the knife kill at the end, which is like, could be better, but it's such a cool scene.
Yeah. Also, like that scene begins. I think it is a callback to the original Halloween film because he bumps into two kids really, but like one of the kids is holding a pumpkin full of candy. And he drops it and spills it. And I think that's like a call. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that's a callback to the first movie where isn't it Tommy Jarvis is walking through the school and then bumps into
Tommy Jarvis is Friday 13th.
Oh,
Tommy
yeah.
Doyle.
Whoops. Tommy Doyle. Yeah. I got my Tommies mixed up. But yeah, Tommy Doyle's walking with a jack-o'-lantern and bumps into Michael and drops it. So, yeah.
Yeah, he bumps into him. Well, it was after the kids, he bumps into him. That was after he's carrying the pumpkin and the kids like knock him down, smash his pumpkin or whatever. Mm. And then he runs into, as he's like escaping that scene at the school, he bumps into Michael and Michael's like, looks up at him and takes off. And but that's definite callback there, I would think.
Yeah. But yeah, just an overall fun scene. And even in Halloween Kills, even though it gets into like Marvel style filmmaking of because you see the doctor and the nurse in this scene, right, as they're getting ready to leave the house, and like they escape Michael unknowingly, but then you see that scene from their perspective in Halloween Kills. So
right,
yeah,
which is honestly that's probably one of my favorite scenes in that movie. And there's not a ton of great ones in that particular movie, but
yeah, it's all good.
That's all I got in the old Halloween franchise. What do you got?
Yeah, so I want to bring one up that was suggested by a listener, and again, Dan's with us today while we're recording, but he also suggested earlier in the week that we can't forget about the Peanuts and the Great Pumpkin. And the trick-or-treating scene in that, which I mean that was on my list as well. Just
same, yeah, it was on my list too.
Yeah, but it's so great. It's great for two reasons. One, you have Lucy leading the gang through trick-or-treating, and she gets in front of the line, and she's always first, and she's always there to complain about her brother Linus being in the Great Pumpkin Patch, and she's using it to get more candy. And it's just like constant complaining. Even after she gets the candy, she's just like, oh boy, what a blockhead. He's out there just spending all his time and I got to get candy for him. Can you just give me a little bit of candy?
How embarrassing to have to ask for something for my blockhead brother. Yeah, she's just being a real martyr here.
Yeah, just a total martyr, an early Karen. Like, it's, just getting the candy. And then the other is the punchline of like, after every house, all the kids gather together and they talk about what candy they got. And then dumb old Chuck comes up with his terrible ghost costume that's an irregular from China or whatever it is. And he has the punchline of, I got a rock.
Yeah.
But
classic.
My favorite part about that, though, is when they're in line getting candy, Charlie's never the last one in line. So it's not like the house ran out of candy and then gave him a rock. They're specifically fucking him over.
Oh yeah, Charlie Brown's getting gang stalked.
Yeah.
He is all the town adults get together and go, let's fuck with this kid. Like this kid is like, they really hate him. Genuinely, everyone hates Charlie Brown all the time. He's always catching shit from everybody. And for all the adults to be in on it now, all of a sudden, is really like devious, I feel like.
Yeah. Dan called it community hazing.
Yeah, it really is. It is. They're just doing this to like, what's he supposed to be, like 9?
Yeah,
I mean?
right.
Years old
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's just a child. Everybody knows it. And I'm pretty sure some of those parents have also got to be parents of the kids that he's trick-or-treating with, and they're still just fucking him over. Like, we hate this Charlie Brown kid hanging out with our kid.
Yeah. we hate that he's a bad influence on our kid, not because he's mean, just because he sucks so bad.
Yeah, he just sucks. He just bums us out.
Yeah,
kid's a real fucking bummer, and that's coming from a group of kids that has Pigpen in it.
Yeah, oh yeah, but Pigpen is the shit. Like he is. Nobody gives him a hard time.
Yeah,
and
he's a scuzz, but he's fun.
Yeah, he's all right. He's and he also he says poignant things.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite part of this one is like the opening. It's like a little opening kind of montage thing, leading like, and you get there's no dialogue. It's just the trick-or-treaters, like, and you don't even know that they're not necessarily even associating them with like the actual Peanuts characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's kids in masks, kind of getting chased around by bats fly out at first, and then there's like a pumpkin that like some jack-o'-lanterns, and it's just like the symbol of like, hey, this is just all this crazy stimuli that's happening during Halloween and trick-or-treat that are, the kids are having fun and getting scared and shit like that. The best part in my mind, call me basic, I absolutely love the soundtrack for all the Peanuts stuff, and I own all these soundtracks on like multiple formats. But Vince Guaraldi's soundtrack to this whole special is just fucking amazing, and it just sets the mood. And like, for it to be, there really isn't another Halloween special that has lived this long.
No.
Right? Like, there's tons of Christmas specials that are from the 50s and 60s and stuff like that, and even Halloween, tons of Christmas movies, obviously from way back, that are 50, 60, 70 years old. This from 1966, I can't think of one more that is purely a Halloween special, or even a Halloween themed, episode of something that is even as remotely as iconic as this one that's that old.
Yeah. I think that's partially why we got so many like Nickelodeon Halloween specials, because it's like almost a void of like, nobody else had them, so let's fucking make our own. Like, let's make a whole bunch. I mean, it also has to do with just the way TV seasons ran, back in the day. But it's also like, hey, let's make a whole bunch of Halloween specials. We can rerun them all the time on Snick or Treat. We only have to make the one,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I guess, Halloween has also become just like a bigger part of like the culture over the years. It was I feel like a fairly niche holiday for, certain decades, kind of goes in and out of fashion a little bit, if you will.
Yeah. Eventually we wrenched it away from the Irish and brought it to the masses. So
eventually, wrestled it from the filthy pagan Irish folks. But yeah, I mean, I just never get sick of this one. I actually just got my hands on a box of the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown cereal the other day. Yeah, I couldn't find it for the longest time. I'm out there looking for the dang old, the Carmella Creepers and the Monster Mash remixes and all the, regular monster shows. No problem finding any of those. Got freaking a bunch of dumb shit, your Halloween Crunch and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just found, which I say just, like, it's not even October yet, but normally this stuff, like, I'm snagging it up in August, and I just found the Great Pumpkin cereal. So
I feel like possibly if Charles Schultz was still alive, he wouldn't sign off on that.
Doesn't feel like it. He had a lot of, like, obviously there was a big message in like of anti-commercialism and stuff like that in a lot of things he does.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like he would have loved the cereal angle of it. But it is weird. I'm sure Schultz, like heirs, whoever it is that owns the rights to that, his family or whatever, are very particular about what they put the peanuts on.
Right. Yeah.
But it's the things that they put them on are baffling.
Yeah. Sometimes there's just like a real weird one that comes out and you're like, okay, I mean, I guess you believe in it or something.
So the one thing that I saw that I definitely noticed before, but just subconsciously hadn't really paid that much attention to, is whenever you go to, like, I was at Costco and they had these big giant bins of pumpkins, or maybe you're at like a grocery store that sells, pumpkins or whatever. Before any, actual pumpkin patches are like really open, you can go buy, a pumpkin at fucking, Costco or whatever.
Yeah.
The giant cardboard, like bins, like totes, that they have them in are like Peanuts themed. Like it says like the Great Pumpkin or whatever. I'm like, who made that deal with like Big Pumpkin? Like the big pumpkin farmers got in on the ground level with the Schultz family. Yeah,
it's either a farming subsidiary or it's a fucking big cardboard. It's like, hey, can we make these bins?
Yeah, Charles Schultz really, was pretty anti-commercialism, but hated trees.
Right.
So he was really into anything that would just destroy, just deforest it. He loved to deforest.
Couldn't help himself.
Yeah. But yeah, so that I love the great it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's the proper, which I always thought was also kind of an interesting title.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That's the title of the of the special.
Yeah, it's an interesting premise. Like when the holiday is so associated with like evil and all that kind of shit. It was a brilliant way of like taking it away from the evil, but also taking it away from fucking like kind of the paganist views of it as well. And it's just like, we're gonna make a thing up and it's the Great Pumpkin, but the Great Pumpkin doesn't show up either, so it's whatever.
Yeah, I always took it as like it was some sort of like God allegory. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking into it too much.
Christ is the Great Pumpkin and Christ doesn't arrive, but you should believe in case he does.
Yes, exactly. Like, keep believing, because the second you stop believing, he ain't going to come.
Have
and
faith.
Also, the fact that he hasn't come after 2,000 something years is your fault. You didn't believe hard enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because he didn't come after 2000 doesn't mean he doesn't come in 2001.
You weren't sincere enough.
You didn't buy enough MetLife policies.
Yeah, there's another weird one, right?
Right.
And like also Cedar Point, like the amusement park. We've talked about that before too. Anyway, yeah, I'll throw out another listener suggestion here from Felina. I don't know if this is a real name or if this is like just a online avatar type of name, but it's an awesome name. Felina Grindstaff on Instagram.
Nice.
If that's your real name, that's a sick real name.
Right.
Anyway, she brought up Trick or Treat, not to be confused with 1986's movie that you're going to do on the showdown next week. This is 2007's Trick or Treat, when you first meet Sam while he's trick or treating. So Sam being the kind of vengeful spirit of Halloween, if you will, in 2007's Trick or Treat, directed by Mike Dougherty, I think. And it is a really cool, if you've not seen it, I don't imagine who is listening to this podcast who hasn't saw Trick or Treat. Maybe you're new to the podcast and you are just getting into horror movies or something. If so, I'm jealous of you, because you really need to go check out Trick or Treat from 2007 for the first time. Perfect time of year to do it.
Yeah.
It's an anthology of sorts, but a creative anthology that has this kind of through line wraparound story with Sam, who's this, I won't spoil it in case you haven't seen it, But he's a little trick-or-treater. But he's a little bit more than that as well. And there's a couple different scenes, that are trick-or-treat scenes in this. And the one that I always remember, because I remember the first time I watched this movie, I guess I didn't expect it to be as, I don't know, like intense as it was. Like, for whatever reason, I just had something in my mind that it was going to be a little bit goofier, because now, like, Sam is, a really iconic Halloween and horror image and character. And there's, this movie was, I don't think it was an enormous commercial success. I feel like it gained an audience a little bit later on.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge cult success, but
yes, big time. Now it's like, it's a huge, not even a franchise. There's only one movie. Although I keep hearing that they're going to make another one, but I feel like they just every couple of years say that they're going to make another one, but it never actually happens. But it is a little, he has this lollipop, like this big jack-o'-lantern lollipop with like a bite taken out of it. He kind of has the an orange onesie and then like a burlap sack kind of mask on. So he's definitely creepy looking, but he looks like a little child. He's meant to look like a little child. But when I remember seeing the previews for this when it came out and just thinking it was going to be, I don't know, like almost PG-13-y type of horror. But the opening scene, like I said, I won't spoil the whole kill, but you get this scene of like this woman, husband and wife, and it's all about you can't betray certain rules of Halloween, and they ultimately do, and then one of them meets their end as a result of it. And there's a scene where like these three trick-or-treaters or they're kind of older, come up and kind of, see this happen or see a little bit of the aftermath of it happening and just like run away screaming. And the street scenes of that and even the one, I don't know if it's the second to last or the last segment with Brian Cox in it. I know he's in a couple of them. Mm-hmm. The street scenes of trick-or-treating are awesome in this movie. Like, you could probably point to almost any of them, and there'll be a cool trick-or-treat scene. Any of the segments, there's probably some sort of cool trick-or-treat or trick-or-treat related scene. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the name of the movie, but yeah, like
right.
Everything has that fall feel to it. Like the movie has a great look overall. And just back to a point that you were saying before about like how you're surprised about like the violence in it. Like, this film is not afraid to put kids in peril. Like it does it repeatedly. And so like even though it has like almost this hocus pocus feel to it, it's so like violent and over the top sometimes, and like surprisingly violent. Like one of the scenes with what's his name? I think he's like the bad guy in everything. He's the bad guy in Law and Order all the time. His name's like Dylan, and it's like him and the kid from Bad Santa, and he like gives him the chocolate, and the chocolate fucking is poison. Like,
yeah, or was it poison or the razor blades in it or something? Something bad.
I thought it was. I remember it as poison, but it could have been razor blades. But yeah, like he's he's this serial killer on the street that like takes advantage of kids, and like it's like, oh, what the fuck. And then like there's a bunch of other scenes of like, oh wow, like kids are really in peril in this film. Like, this film doesn't have rules. There's always something shocking in like every one of the segments, and that I think that's part of the reason why this is such and there has actually been so many, I don't even want to say copycat, but like definitely Halloween the holiday themed anthology movies that have been made since Trick or Treat was made in 2007. There's probably been 10 more Halloween anthology movies that you could tell are just really heavily inspired by this movie. Yeah. I mean, I think anthology movies in general took off more after this. We have so many more. Cause like also we got a bunch of like Christmas anthology ones. There's one that's what's his face? William Shatner's in that. It's like it's a Christmas, and it has like a wraparound. But yeah, it's pretty good. I wish I remember the name of it, but maybe we'll talk about it in December.
Yeah, I have one other one I'll throw out there just because it's on the same topic is Tales of Halloween from 2015, which I think, well, both of these movies were on our Wheel of Ween. Neither of them got picked this year, but Tales of Halloween from 2015 is a Halloween anthology. And there's one, and this was actually on my list, but there is one scene, and it's really one moment in one scene. I think the segment is called Friday the 31st.
Okay.
And it is a kind of spoof on Friday the 13th meets, but there's a character that's more Leatherface than he is Jason. But, he's like a kind of stereotypical, slasher killer. And he gets, I won't, completely tell you the entire plot of the segment, but he ends up being kind of, confronted with this alien. And the alien is like a claymation, like stop motion little alien. Mm-hmm. And it's this cute little, maybe 8-inch tall little alien that's got a little jack-o'-lantern, trick or treat bucket. And he's like, twickle tweet. And he just keeps saying twickle tweet. Mm-hmm. And then the killer is looking at him like, I don't have any candy. Just do it. He doesn't talk because he's like Leatherface or whatever. Yeah. Or Jason combined with Leatherface. And he's kind of like getting more frustrated because he doesn't have anything to give the alien trick or treater. And he just keeps going twickle tweet. And then finally he just stomps him. It's very comical. It's very abrupt. It's super stupid, but I always like that. Anything with, I love any stop motion, anything, and making it a little alien trick or treating. I mean, I'm gonna like it. It literally doesn't matter what happens, but the fact that then he comes to like a violent end, like abruptly, is awesome.
All right, I got one, and I'm taking us back out of the horror film realm. But it's just a quick scene in a movie that I think everybody should see the movie because it's very good. So just maybe if this inspires you to watch the movie, go ahead. But you ever see the movie American Splendor?
No.
So
I have not.
It's kind of it's kind of an autobiography film about a comic book writer from Cleveland. His name was Harvey Pekar. And he wrote...
I know the name.
Yeah, so he wrote the comic book American Splendor, but it was just like even the comic book itself was also in many ways autobiographical. And he was just...
I have seen this poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I see it, I don't think I've ever seen the movie, but now that I see the poster with what's his
Paul
face?
Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti, yeah.
Yeah. So the film is, just kind of an autobiographical take of this guy's life, and... He's a real fucking misanthrope is what he is. Like, he's just a misanthrope from Cleveland. He just like everything annoys him. He doesn't understand, and he has no qualms about being confrontational about the smallest things. Like, he's basically like a Midwest Larry David is what he
I'm looking at a picture of him, and yes, that is exactly what he looks like. Yeah. He just looks grumpy as hell.
Yeah, he's like a Midwest Larry David. The film is about like how even though he's just like this terrible misanthrope, he also has like just kind of love in his life and things like it. It's a great film. But the film starts with him very early as a child. And it's like mid-50s, and he's trick-or-treating in the mid-50s. And he's with like a group of kids, and they're all dressed up as superheroes. And it's like Superman, Batman, and they all go to the house together. And the woman answers the door, and she's like giving candy out in the bags. And she's like, oh, we got a Superman, and we got a Batman, and we got a scary ghost. And it gets to him, and he's just standing there dressed as himself.
Yeah.
And she goes... well, who are you? He's like, I'm Harvey Pekar. She goes, that's no superhero I've ever heard of. He's like, I'm not a superhero, lady. I'm me. She doesn't give him any candy. And he's just like, out of hell with this. And he just like walks off the porch, and he's carrying a pillowcase of candy, and he just throws it on the ground and kicks it. It's just like... It's just the perfect way to set up just like an annoyed misanthrope of just like, just give him the candy, like, and it wouldn't be a problem. But he has to be so confrontational about everything. It's a great way to start, just start a story about like a character like that everything is a problem, and he's not going to bend or conform at any point.
Yeah. So, why do I know the name Harvey Picar? Like, I'm looking at what his career. I'm like, I don't think I know him from really many of these things, but for some reason that name I definitely know, and kind of I know who he is. Like, I know the character. Maybe I have seen American Splendor and I just have blocked it out. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, like I said, he was from Cleveland, and so like it's possible just the proximity of like to us that like his comics or something bled into and he was just like for a while, like he's been dead for a while, but like his possibility.
Looked like he passed away in 2010.
And American Splendor came out in 2003, so like there's just a possibility of like his nature bleeding into the zeitgeist at the time. That it's a vague thing, but yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, go back and check it out, and then you get a fun trick-or-treat scene in there as well.
I'm gonna go to a not fun trick-or-treat scene, and from not horror to very horror. I am gonna go to a movie that I feel like I bring up about every other episode. 20 and 22's Terrifier 2.
Oh yeah.
I love this movie. I'm a champion of this movie. It's the wildest, most just insane, hyper violent it's just such a wild movie. And sometimes I just like think to myself, the fact that Terrifier 2 exists, it just kind of like makes me smile. I'm like, it's so bonkers that this movie exists, and got a theatrical release and like also made a bunch of money. I just don't know how that's possible.
I'm still baffled why it has so many fans, but
come on, it's so wild.
It's so wild, and like I like scenes in it, and the scene we're about to talk about I like, but like as a whole I don't like.
I don't understand what there isn't to like. It is a hyper violent, insane, funny, atmospheric. It's just bonkers. I mean, I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is my cup of tea. And I'm going to talk about particular scene, which is basically comes on the heels of the most intense scene in the movie, the most hyper violent scene in the movie, which I won't spoil. It was the one I think I've described it in the past as maybe the only time in my life, certainly in my adult life, that I was in the theater by myself and literally out loud was like, Jesus Christ. I just said to myself, like, what the? So it comes on the heels of that. There's this character, Allie, who, spoiler alert here, guys, if you haven't seen Terrifier 2, it's been like a year. But if you haven't seen it, skip ahead a little bit because it's awesome. But anyway, there's this character, Allie, one of the friends of the main protagonist, and she has just been dispatched in a very brutal way. Her mom comes home, discovers her. Actually, she hadn't been dispatched at that point.
No.
She was actually still alive, which in and of itself is a little bit of a spoiler. But her mom comes home and discovers it, blah, blah, blah. Her mom is killed by Art the Clown. And Art hollows out Allie's mom's head and uses it as a candy bowl. And when trick-or-treaters come to the house, he comes out and holds out a bloody, hollowed out head full of candy and hands it to each one of the kids, and they're all like, oh, sick, whoa. And then like some of them are like, oh fuck, because it's like it's literally, I mean, no one could look at this and say, like, obviously you wouldn't make the assumption as a child that, oh, this is a real head,
right?
But at the same time, it's so intensely gory that how would you have a candy bowl that looks like that as well? And I mean, I guess that's part of the effectiveness of the scene because it's very tense, and Art's standing there, in full Art makeup, grinning and doing his whole shtick, holding this disgusting, bloody head full of candy for all the trick-or-treaters to take. And it's just like, it just lingers, just like everything in this movie. It just lingers on the goriness of it for so long.
Yeah, it's just the fact that like, if you took it into real life, the head would have been so well, like there would have been so much detail to it. It would have looked better than anything you could ever find at Spirit Halloween.
Right.
So it should have been
make
like
yourself or anything. You know what I mean? Unless you just happen to be trick-or-treating at like Damien Leone's house or something.
Exactly. So you would have to stop for a second and think, boy, that's crazy. Like that is such a well-made thing. And you would want to talk to that guy for like hours about like, how did you make it?
Right.
So it's I like the scene that precedes it because it's so over the top and it turns into comedy, really.
It does. At one point it does. Yeah.
And I like this scene on its own. My only thing I don't like is like that it's actually a recycled gag from earlier in the movie. Because he does this, he basically does kind of the same thing to the costume shop owner.
Does he hollow out his head? No, he turns him into like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, he turns him into but it's basically the same gag because then you have like a mom and son see the gag and like pass it off as like, oh, that's so cool, and then yeah.
So that's part of why Art is able to kind of hide in plain sight is because he does this on Halloween, and it's like, oh, people, it's like that, you know, that there's like that. I think it's a real story. Like I don't think it's an urban legend, but there was that story about how, you know, the person who like, you know, there was like somebody who died, you know, it was like a real corpse that was hanging out for like days somewhere, and people thought it was a Halloween decoration. Again, I don't know. I'm sure that's an urban legend, but I feel like there is actually an instance where that happened. But
I'm willing to bet that's happened like multiple times, and
it probably has.
Like, there's probably been multiple instances of like just deaths by misadventure that, you know, like, or somebody who was sitting out on their porch fucking died in a rocking chair because it got too cold for him or something, you know?
This I think that's part of the reason why, like, that's a theme, I guess, is in the movie, is like, oh, Art does stuff and he gets away with it. Same reason why he could just walk around in his fucking crazy clown, you know, get up. Because people are like, oh, it's Halloween, he's fucking nuts, whatever.
Right. Yeah. He's just in the spirit early in the midday. That's the other thing, that the trick or treat scene is happening in the middle of the day, and it's like right after school.
It's definitely very. I mean, I took it. It's like 6 p.m. Yeah, you know, something like that. It's after dinner. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that up, but it does feel like that's the case.
Yeah, it's just funny because it's just another daylight. And I think are they in kind of the Los Angeles, California area, or do they not say like where this is supposed to be taking place?
Good question. What the setting is for Terrifier. I feel like it is not in LA because I feel like I'm remembering scenes, at least from the first movie, where I thought it was like kind of cold out.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the first film I thought was New York because obviously, you know, Leone's a New York guy. But I thought for some reason this one moved to LA or whatever. But
it might have. I'm gonna look it up. Takes place in I'm not easily. Movie film. It was filmed in New Jersey. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's East Coast.
Yeah, it's still East Coast.
To say.
All right.
Yeah,
it's just global warming making it not look like Halloween. You just call it that.
Yeah, probably.
All right. I got one. This is my last one, but it
I got one more too. So
this one I'm putting on best of the worst.
Okay.
It's fucking, I don't know. It's bad. It's silly. It's stupid, but it's also funny. Did you see The Predator?
The remake one?
Kind of the remake, the one from 2018.
I think I did. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I
it's okay if you block
paid
it
that
out.
much attention to it. I feel like it was one of those things where it came up like on Tubi, just like in the background while we were recording, or I was working at my desk or something. So like I am familiar with parts of it. I guess
it is a baffling film in a lot of ways. But it includes a trick or treat scene. Also for some reason, because it is funny. The scene itself is funny.
Okay.
But so the setup of the film is a predator gets killed, and somebody sends the mask and armor of the predator back home, and it's accidentally intercepted by like an autistic kid who lives at the house.
Okay.
So like he opens like this box up, and he gets a predator mask and a piece and the wrist guard armor that has like the weapons and the nuke bomb on it and everything. Yeah, he gets that in the mail at Halloween time.
Sure.
And he turns it,
and he's like, "Oh, sick."
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, sick." It has like lasers and everything. Right. Like it lights up. I would have
done that. Come on.
Yeah, it lights up. That's great. I'm gonna turn it into my Halloween costume. So
I mean, come on, what else are you gonna do with that?
Yeah. So you have the scene of this kid who's just wearing the giant predator mask, because I mean it's for an 8-foot tall alien, and so it's like way oversized, and he's wearing that in the wrist guard and just like a hoodie and a t-shirt. Like he's not it's not a costume, it's not a full costume, but he goes out.
It just looks like you're going to like some sort of like cyberpunk show or something.
Yeah. And so he,
cyberpunk rave.
He's dressed like a little doof, and he's out on the streets, and I think he's even just carrying like a spackle bucket, like not even a Halloween bucket, because like he wasn't supposed to go out
like he's got a Home Depot bucket.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to go trick or treating or anything, but he's out there. He's out in the world, and he starts getting bullied by these kids, and they're like, "Hey, what are you dressed as, nerd?" And like they chase him, and he's like, "Don't bully me." And then he walks away from them and goes up to this house and rings the doorbell, and like nobody answers. So he starts walking away from the house, and like this dirtball junkie comes out he's on the second floor of his house that has a terrace. And for whatever reason, he just decides, I'm going to throw an apple at this kid and fucking hit him in the back of the head.
Such a dirtball move.
He's
whip an apple at a kid.
Yeah, total dirtball move. He hits the kid in the back of the head, but because he hits the mask activates defense protocol. And turns on a fucking laser beam that shoots him. Like it turns around, shoots him in the chest, and like it blows a hole in his chest, but also pushes him back into the house. And then the entire top floor of this house explodes.
That's kind of awesome. Now I want to watch this.
Like you can just watch the clip itself on YouTube. It's fine. But the kid is like thrown into his bullies, and they all topple to the ground after this house fucking explodes and this guy is killed. And then the kid just leaves the mask on the ground. He's just like,
he's like, I'm going to leave this.
Yeah, he just walks away from it. And it's just like,
that's funny.
What the fuck was that?
I thought that you were going to say that he did it to the bullies. Like, that would be like, whoa, that would be pretty intense.
Yeah. But he shakes the mask at him.
Explode your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's like, he still had the wrist guard. He could have killed him with it. It's just so weird because it didn't necessarily have to be Halloween. Like, he could have just decided to wear the mask out and then got bullied for it, or like, pegged by a neighbor in the head. But it's just like a weird setup of like, we're going to do Halloween trick or treat.
Yeah, that's not what you expect from a Predator movie. Also, I didn't realize, is the Predator really that tall? For some reason I remember the Predator being like maybe humans, average human size, if not a little shorter. Why is that what's in my head?
Well, so like the first movie, he's easily 7 foot. Like the actor is 7 foot.
Is he? Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the actor. Yeah. The actor, I think, is.
I've seen the franchise. I've seen the first one.
Yeah, I think the actor is actually from Pittsburgh too. If I remember that.
Oh no shit.
If I remember that correctly, yeah. Yeah. The actor was from Pittsburgh because he also played Harry and the Hendersons. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like.
Nice.
Yeah, the actor's actually 7 foot, and then Arnold is like 5'11" or whatever. So, he looks big, but I think in this film, he's even bigger, and he's bigger for a reason. It's part of the plot. The whole plot is like the Predators are doing genome sequencing to fucking make themselves like the ultimate and biggest and strongest.
Okay.
And for some reason, they decide that autism is the next genetic evolution that they need. And so they try to steal this kid for genetic sequencing to take his autism.
That's an interesting plot.
Yeah,
that's an interesting plot point.
Yeah, it's a real interesting plot point. But like, yeah, the Predator, they have like I think they have like a good Predator and a bad Predator, and the bad Predator is super huge, and like he's bigger than the regular Predator.
Now this is such a stupid sounding movie. I definitely want to watch it now. I've seen the first one plenty. Especially when I was a kid. I used to watch that movie a lot, and I've kind of just lost track of that franchise. I watched Prey, whatever. That's
Prey was fine.
But but I don't I haven't really seen a lot of those movies, certainly not in a long time. Maybe I need to go revisit them, because that sounds absolutely, I mean, that's the newer one, obviously, but just the franchise as a whole, because if any of the rest of the franchise is that bonkers, I feel like I probably would enjoy it.
So Predator 2 rules. Low-key rules.
Yeah. I have seen Predator 2. I know. I mean, I remember scenes for Predator 2. It's probably been a long time.
Predator 2 low-key rules. Alien vs. Predator, the first one sucks. Alien vs. Predator 2 Requiem sucks worse, but also it has fun things in it that makes it worth watching more so. Predators with Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne is, I don't know, it's a toss-up. You may or may not like it. And then The Predator, the one from 2018, it's fucking wild, because it's written by Shane Black, who wrote the original. But it's so weird. It's so weird and crazy. And it has all these weird things about the autism. And then it has it has Olivia Munn in it. It has Predator dogs in it. It has
Predator dogs.
It has Key from Key and Peele in it. It's a wacky movie.
I mean, I'm definitely going to watch it now. You're selling me further on it. I never watched the Alien vs. Predator movies. I was always a big fan of the Alien franchise, the straight up normal Alien franchise. And I always thought it was lame to I don't know, the idea of bringing another alien villain into the Alien franchise just always seemed really stupid to me. So I never watched them, but
see,
I don't know. Maybe I could give it a chance.
Yeah, see, I don't like those movies because the first one was PG-13 and the second one was just a bad movie. But I was such a big fan of the Dark Horse comics growing up, because they they did so many Dark Horse comics of Alien vs. Predator, and then even got fucking crazier with Alien vs. Predator vs. Batman. And there's some wild comics out there.
There is so much weird Batman shit that I'll come across all the time, and what the fuck is happening? And a lot of it's good. I don't understand how a lot of it's good.
I think there might be. Don't completely quote me on this, but I think there's RoboCop versus Alien, and there might be Terminator versus Alien or Terminator versus Predator. You got to really look in the Dark Horse's backlog. They're out there, though.
Jesus.
They're out there.
And I'm going to go down that. That's what I need to go down that rabbit hole. All right. I'm going to go completely opposite direction for my last one and get us back out of horror. Well, not out of horror completely, but to I guess, YA horror. Talked about it a lot of times. Huge fan of the Goosebumps book series as a kid. When I was, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I don't know. I was in that range, probably more 8 to 10 years old. Was when the franchise, the Goosebumps books were big, and I every new one that came out almost. I just was obsessed with them. Like kids were obsessed, waiting in line for when the new Harry Potter book would come out and shit. I was almost like that with the Goosebumps books.
I mean, but we didn't have to be, because our school brought them to us. It was called the book fair, my man, and they brought the gold to us.
That's most of the time where I got them. Like it would be like I would roll out of there with like I would be saving up allowance money, and because your parents would give you like, hey, here's $5 or $10, go buy a book and a poster or some shit, go buy a Lamborghini poster and like a fucking Goosebumps. But I would be like, I'm gonna take some of my own allowance money that I've saved to now go and buy 8 Goosebumps books.
Did your parents have like rules for you of like I specifically remember I was allowed to buy a Goosebumps book, but I had to buy something else that like my mom approved of. Like she didn't want me just buying all junk according to her.
Now, I did have like there was a certain amount that's like you got to buy books with this and not like just 5 Lamborghini posters or whatever.
Not 5 posters and slap bracelets.
No, you couldn't come home with just like this is for books. And listen, if you buy one poster, that's fine, but you can't buy a bunch of you can't just buy 4 Shaq posters and a Lamborghini poster.
Hell yeah.
But no, I think they were just genuinely pleased that I was reading.
Fair enough.
They were just like, whatever, you're gonna read books. I'm not gonna tell you what books to read. But and then when the TV series came out, I really liked the TV series as well. Not all of them. Some of them are bad, but I was a big fan of the Are You Afraid of the Dark and the Goosebumps. I was more of an Are You Afraid of the Dark fan, but I did like the Goosebumps franchise as well. But I never wanted to I only ever wanted to watch the ones that I'd already read the book of, obviously, because I didn't want to like spoil the book. And then at that point, it's hard to like something that you've read the book of, I feel like, because you already have in your mind what the characters look like and all this stuff, and then they look like something totally different. This is one that's an exception that I don't think I loved at the time, but subsequently I've learned to like more. One of my favorite Goosebumps books was Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, which was my favorite, because it's very Halloween centric one. There surprisingly isn't that many Halloween, very Halloween centric Goosebumps books. Like there are a few, and some of them are very spooky and like could take place during Halloween, but not a ton of them that are just straight up Halloween. And Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns was, and it was literally about, kids who meet some like, weird kids, and the weird kids end up being, friggin' alien jack-o'-lantern head aliens or some shit. And they just make them trick or treat forever. And it's like this psychological like thing of like, you guys are going to make us trick or treat until we die. And we're all scared and cold, and nope, you still got to trick or treat forever. The episode of the TV series from the mid 90s for this one had a couple of really cool scenes in it. So this is season 2, episode 10, Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. This was from 1996. And the scene I actually posted, like I said, on that little clip reel on Instagram this week, a couple of scenes from this. And the weirdest thing about this is it was a pretty aggressive episode to do or book to do an episode on, because the way they describe the jack-o'-lantern head, they think they're kids, but then they're like, wait, no, this is like way too, it doesn't look like a costume. It's too scary. Well, in the TV episode, it 100% looks like a costume. Yeah. Except for they're just tall and they just have big, like it almost looks like the pumpkin wrapper from, from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, except for it's not upside down. It's just big doofy pumpkin heads. But the part that I love is when they're kind of abducting the kids to take them to a place where they have trick or treat forever, they take them to another neighborhood. And the whole idea is like, oh, we know a better neighborhood that's even better for trick or treating. And the kids are like, oh, sick, take us there. And they like walk through the woods, and there's a scene where this, crazy big jack-o'-lantern head aliens or whatever they are luring these kids into the woods. And then they come out on the other side and they're in this like neighborhood that's like super decked out with Halloween, decorations, and it's just awesome. So they like get taken to like, like a bonus level in a video game kind of thing. It's just that's just like Halloween themed. And the thought of that was always so cool to me. And in this scene, it just, when they come out, it's like all foggy, misty, cool. And then it just like they open up and now they're in this like awesome, bonus level of a neighborhood. And that scene just always stuck with me. I love that.
If you didn't have to do it forever, it would rule, because it would just be like, you take a little trip and you get to go restock on your candies or whatever, just like, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go to Trick or Treat Town for a second.
I just need 5 minutes in Trick or Treat Town.
Just give me 5 in Trick or Treat Town. I got to get it. I got to get some full sizes and I'll be good.
I always love that. Like I said, the book, but the scene in the TV show was super cool. I mean, it doesn't, like I said, the whole episode's not great. It's like I said, I've described this as painfully Canadian, the show. And this definitely suffers from that a little bit, but it's a goofy kids show, and that scene rules.
Yeah. So I kind of lied. I said I had one last one. Yeah. I forgot. I wanted to talk about a movie that came out this year.
Oh, okay. Nice.
It's a movie everybody should put on their October watch list, and I even did like a longer review of it on our Patreon. But the movie Cobweb, everybody should go see this movie. It's so steeped in visual style, and it occurs at Halloween. Yeah. So like it's a wonderful little film, and everybody should check it out. But like, it's almost anti Trick or Treat in the way it plays out, because even though it occurs at Halloween, the protagonist that we follow isn't allowed to go trick or treating, and so anytime we see something trick or treat, it's kind of like it's either done off screen, or people aren't having fun, or people, like all the trick or treat stuff is like negative in a way, away from the protagonist. So it's like anti trick or treat. But like overall, the film is wonderful to look at. It's fun to watch. I can't talk too much about it because like it relies heavily on spoilers. The one thing I will say though is the film stars Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr, and Anthony Starr plays Homelander on The Boys, and Lizzie Kaplan, she's been in a lot of stuff, but her performance, you'll love this, Brian, it is just this side of Hinged when compared to Desiree Gould in Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, really?
Like it is so close to Aunt Martha, and you'll fucking love it.
On purpose? Not, don't even tell me. I'm just going to go watch it. Yeah,
just watch it.
All right, where I'm looking to see.
It's like $6 on. It's like $6 on most streaming services. I don't think it. Maybe people want to give it a minute to see if it hits like Shudder or something for October. I don't know. I didn't read any news about that, but yeah, it's only $6 right now. But I love this film. It, like, if it weren't for the gore, it would be like the best PG-13 movie. Like, kids would be scared to shit of it. But like, it's not a movie for kids right now. So
yeah. Well, I'm putting that on the old watch list because that looks fun, and Lizzie Kaplan's awesome, and it looks like it's got a good cast.
Yep.
So sick. Cobweb, putting it in the old letterbox right now. Cobweb from 2023.
Yeah, I think it came out. I think it maybe like had its first release or whatever in February of this year. So it came out at like a completely, I don't know, not a great time for.
It's a weird time.
Yeah, weird time for a Halloween film. But like, yeah, it's absolutely a Halloween film. It fucking rules.
Yeah, I just it looks like it hit streaming in like July too, which is like again just weird timing on it. Who knows why?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Nice. Well, them be our trick or treat scene recommendations. If you've got any other ones for us after listening to this and you're like, why the hell didn't you talk about this? Maybe we never seen it before. Send it over to us on the old social media. Shoot us a little DM or comment on, one of the posts or something like that and say, hey, you should check this out. we probably will. Although we are pretty dang booked up for October in terms of guests and topics and that sort of thing. If you got some just generally spooky ooky Halloween themed movie recommendations that you want us to do a minisode on, who knows? Throw them our way and we'll check them out.
Yeah,
it's always fun. We love getting movie recommendations from listeners.
I think we may have like 1 week in October open at this point. Like,
yeah, because there's 5 Mondays.
Yeah, we get 5 Mondays, so I think our extra is open at this point. And like, other than that, Jesus, send us fucking ideas for November and December.
You know that Christmas horror will be coming right around the corner, and you know I love me some dang old Yuletide spookies. All right, guys, tune in next week because we got that dang old fatal 4-way slobber knocker coming your way. And as always, check us out on the social medias. And like I said, if you like this here podcast and you want to hear us talk about, Fast and the Furious, you probably should go over to the patreon.com/Halloween's Forever if you just want to support your boys over there. With being a monthly patron, we would very much appreciate that as well. And thank you to some of our patrons who joined us recording here today. If you want to do that, you got to sign up on there as well. So anything else, Steve? Anything else I'm forgetting?
No, I mean, like I said, yeah, thanks to the Patreons. And, you said, hey, if there was one we didn't get to, then you could have been on our Patreon telling us about it instead of yelling at your podcatcher right now.
Nobody's listening to you in the podcast. Actually, the CIA
is listening
to you, but we're not listening to you. So yeah, if you want to be heard, come on over here. It's a lot of fun. Checking out me and Steve, both feeling yucky, drinking squirts, talking about spooky ookies.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Steve. Champ.
All right, see you. Shut up. All right, bye.